Good morning. Welcome to the Lincoln County Board of Commissioners meeting this Wednesday, June 3rd, 2026. It's 10 a.m. I'm calling this meeting to order. Let's start with establishing a quorum. Commissioner Miller?
Yes, present. Thank you.
Okay. Commissioner Walter Chuck, present. We do have a quorum. We have no recognitions or proclamations. We'll move on to the consent calendar. Are there any items you wish to discuss on the consent calendar, Commissioner Miller?
Yes, Commissioner Chuck, a few things here. Looking at minutes, I would like us to bring those budget committee minutes into the budget committee so that the entire committee can take a look at those. And in regard to the Siletz area enhanced, obviously we don't have another meeting. So those could be forwarded to the budget committee members and making sure that they have a chance to review them before we bring them back. So I would say just let's hold all of these minutes for now on consent. And other than that, I believe the deeds in consent.
So before we go on to another item, I just want to clarify. So the Board of Commissioner meeting minutes from 5:13 and 4:30, are we moving forward with those or what's going on?
Uh, Ms. Yule, no, I'd like to hold those two, please. Thank you.
Okay, how long are we going to hold minutes for? Because we have a lot of minutes that need to be approved, and this has been going on for quite a while. So what's the plan to
I mean,
review minutes?
are there other ones that are being held up for
Yeah,
my
you haven't
review?
been you've been declining to approve minutes since last November and December, and we need to move forward with approving
Oh,
minutes. That's
okay.
one of the responsibilities of the commission.
Sure,
So
sure.
how are we going to accomplish
So,
this?
okay, so well, I would be helpful to have an overview for me. Which ones have I held up and, need to review? So let's
So the ones that are
do
currently on
that.
the agenda are ones that are outstanding. So what's the goal with the minutes from 4:30 and 5:13?
I'm going to look at them more closely. But I also need a review of anything else that maybe I'm holding up.
Okay. So what's are we putting these on the next agenda? Are you able to review that within the next 2 weeks?
Yeah, absolutely. And
Okay.
as far as the budget committee minutes, we need to bring those into the committee.
So what Miss Kelly will do is she will send it to the members, and they can provide any information they'd like. But Miss Kelly's responsible as the recorder to provide the minutes. Um, that's not the responsibility of the other board members. That's her responsibility as a recorder. Of course, this is a public meeting. Budget committee members could review these documents. We haven't heard from any budget committee members regarding the minutes, but I'm happy to have her send those.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
then the next 2 minutes from 5:13 and 4:30, we will place that on the next regular board meeting.
yeah, yeah. And
Okay.
let's circle back on where I'm bottlenecking you. Okay.
Well,
And
we have 5 items that we're not able to move forward with on this meeting for minutes, so those will go on the next meeting.
yeah,
Okay.
okay. Yeah. Thanks for the clarity. And yeah, if they've already been forwarded to the budget committee members, um, that's
I
great.
don't believe they have
Oh, okay.
so I'm saying she can forward those. But again, the responsibility is the recorder that provides the minutes, and the commissioners approve the minutes.
Okay.
So that's fine. We will have her forward those, but it would be great if we could get some of these minutes reviewed so we can get these approved.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, and council, there's some other things I'd love to review with you too, because I think just looking at transcripts from the meetings themselves, that might be a way to actually even speed up time for the recorder. And you and I can talk about that, outside of the meeting. I think there might be a way to really help staff. But that's also what I'm doing too, is I'm looking at the transcripts compared to the budget committee minutes myself as well. So just kind of further info there. So other than that, uh, Okay, are we okay on that then? We're going to keep all the minutes off for now. Um, and then the deed, we've got a Holbrook deed in here, and that is the deed under discussion with Mr. Adam and surplus today. Is that right?
Yeah, we're just going over the consent calendar right now.
Yeah, bear with me, Commissioner Chuck. I think there is a deed in consent that is the deed under the discussion for real surplus. I'm just wanting to see
Hey, Mr. Lip, could you pull up that item?
if I'm interpreting that correctly or not.
And Holbrook is not the same as Attorney Holbrook, just so you know.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
It'll take me just a minute to get that downloaded and to pop it up, but you can look and see on the agenda that there are different items, I think. This
There.
is this map number and text lot.
So unrelated. Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's
Okay.
not the same property. Is that what your
Gotcha.
question is? Okay.
Gotcha. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So, other than the minutes, I approve the consent calendar as presented. And I would move that we approve the consent calendar, with the exception of items A1 through 5, which will be brought back to the next meeting.
Okay, I'll second that. And just so I'm going to have a little discussion. So, council, can you, the minutes, they are not an actual verbatim transcription of what occurred at the meeting, correct?
Correct. Under the law, that is not what minutes are supposed to be reflecting.
Okay, thank you. Any
It's
further
not a
discussion?
it's
I'm
not
sorry.
it's not a transcript of the proceedings. That's not what minutes are.
Correct. Thank you. Any further discussion?
No.
No. Okay, all's in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you. Motion passes. We'll go down to public hearing. Right. I'm opening the public hearing on proposed conveyance by Lincoln County of a tax foreclosed property to the Mackenzie River Trust order under ORS 271. The property is identified as 235 South Drift Creek, Lincoln City, Oregon. We have a staff report from property manager Susan Taylor.
The report's actually being given by me,
All right.
Eli Adam, Lincoln County
Thank,
Surveyor.
thank you,
Um,
Eli. Please proceed.
Yes. This is a property that came to the county via tax foreclosure due to unpaid taxes. It's considered surplus property by property management. The estimated market value for the property is $90,000. We're working on as a sales contract to sell it to Mackenzie River Trust. Even if we weren't selling it to them, it would still need to be declared as surplus to process it through our inventory and dispose of it. I'm asking the Board of Commissioners to declare the property as surplus and to authorize property management to dispose of the property to the sale of Mackenzie River Trust, or if that sale for some reason didn't close, then by auction.
All right.
Are there any questions?
Yeah, thank you, Eli. Ken, can I ask you to do something for me? Under item 7A on the agenda, that is the actual order. Can you pull that up?
Give me just a moment, please.
Thank you, Ken. I appreciate it. Sorry, Eli.
No worries.
No, good. I'm glad you're doing this. It's great. That helps.
Thank you, Ken. Is there any questions for Surveyor Adam?
No, I don't think so. Thanks for pulling this up. And as Mr. Adam indicated, it would just go back to auction if if for any reason this falls through. And Eli, in regard to just our general auctions, those are like once and twice a year. Can you just remind us how that works?
Yes. Historically, in the past, they've been once a year. There's been a lot of legislative change over the past 3 or 4 years, and there continues to be a lot of activity in this area. So, for a variety of reasons, the schedule has not been as regular as it has been in the past. There was a House bill that actually prohibited us from having auctions for a year, so obviously there were no auctions then,
Yeah.
and a variety of other factors. But assuming this eventually all works its way through the legislative process, and there's also litigation in various states over tax foreclosure, but eventually this will probably settle back down into approximately annual tax foreclosure sales.
Gotcha. Thank you. Thank you for just kind of recapping that. I guess one other point of discussion, or maybe just a reflection, would be, Mackenzie River Trust, I think, is a great organization. They're doing good things. Do we have any sense of how they might utilize the property? Anybody know?
I have no information on that. So
Okay.
I know that we've done business with them in the past. So
Yeah, yeah. Okay, I have no further questions. Thank you, Mr. Adam. Appreciate it. So I'm ready to move forward, Commissioner Chuck.
okay. So at this time, I need to ask, is there any public testimony for or against the conveyance? Please use the raise hand function. You have 3 minutes to comment. Mr. Lip, please monitor the raised hand for me, please.
We have one raised hand from Miss George.
Okay. Ms. George, you have 3 minutes to speak on the conveyance of the property.
Okay, first off, by selling it off to Mackenzie River Trust, we're taking it out of the tax and the potential for home sites. I don't know how much land is there. If this is land that's been clear cut, is this land that's got forests on it? Could anybody answer any questions as to why we're not selling this out to taxpayers? That's what I have to ask. We're losing an awful lot of our tax base with nonprofits in Lincoln County. Nonprofits seem to be getting all of the tax benefits, and homeowners don't seem to matter anymore. So that's all I got to say. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. George.
Thank you.
There any other raised hands, Mr. Lip?
Seeing none, Commissioner.
Okay, I will now close this hearing. I'm going to ask if this item is farther down the agenda under decision and action. I'd like to move it up now to make a decision and action on it. Is that Commissioner Miller, you agree?
Yeah, sounds good.
All right, thank you. Is there any further discussion on the proposed conveyance?
For me.
None for me? Okay. I will accept a motion to approve or not approve the conveyance of 235 South Drift Creek in Lincoln City, Oregon.
I would move that we do so.
Okay, I will second that motion. Any further discussion? Okay, seeing none, motion passes unanimously. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioners.
Okay, moving down to item 6A, we have Lincoln County fee schedule to be effective July 1, 2026, presented by Brian Gardner.
Can you hear me now?
We hear you,
Yes.
Brian.
Yes,
Yeah.
Brian.
Thank you uh, to the commissioners. So this is, as you guys know, we do this every 6 months, but for people who don't know, Lincoln County staff reviews the fee schedule every 6 months and recommends adjustments when necessary to recover the costs of providing fee-supported services through regular analysis. And so that's what we're here for today is the regular 6 month review. So in general, I send out requests a couple months in advance of each of these reviews to try to get proposed changes from the different departments so that we can check them against different requirements in order to do any adjustments. And for the proposed fee schedule that is proposed to be effective July 1 of 2026. We did get some proposed fee changes in the clerk's department, which is pages 7 through 9 of the proposed fee schedule, Health and Human Services, specifically the travelers accommodation section, which is pages 11 through 13, Planning and Development, specifically land use planning and zoning, which is pages 15 and 16, on-site sewage disposal, which is page 22, and the Sheriff's Department with regards to the Animal Shelter Division, which is page 26. We also had some changes to the survey and recorder, and as well as an addition to page 5, which is more or less an informational about to let people understand the public records request a little better. Since we get a lot of questions about that, I just thought it was a good thing to add there so they could just reference that, or we could have that referenced when people had questions. So there are a couple, and I don't know if Eli is still on, if he wants to explain the public land corner preservation fees, since he was kind of integral on behalf of the counties in getting that adjusted. But in general, it's been, I don't know, like I said, Eli could probably say more. It's been a long time since that had been modified. Um,
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Gardner. I'd love to hear from Eli. And Brian, excuse me, Kenneth, can you zoom in just a little bit more on that? Can you make it a little bit bigger? Oh, great, great. Thank you.
Yeah, and so what you're looking at is, so I highlight all of the sections that are changed in this proposed fee. Everything that's highlighted shows that it's changed. So you're going to see some stuff that's highlighted and struck through. That means it's being removed. But so that's how it goes. I don't know if Eli is still on, Commissioner Miller, but
Yeah, he's there.
oh, he is.
Yes, good
Yeah.
morning, commissioners. Thank you for having me here today. I can provide some background on public land corners and preservation and fees. Public land corners are controlling survey and property corners for the Western United States. These occur on the ground as rocks, wood stakes, marked trees, or brass monuments. These can be lost through the passage of time and natural and man-made effects. In the 1980s, Oregon started a corner preservation effort funded by a deed recording fee. It's important to note that this fee goes to the preserving of the land corners that benefit and protect those same deeds that have the fee charged. So the fee is also where the benefit is received, the properties and deeds being recorded. When this effort was started in the mid-80s, it was capped at $10 per deed. As you know, expenses have increased since the mid-80s. House Bill 3175 in the 2025 session removed that $10 cap, allowing local control to establish the correct amount for each county appropriate for their local characteristics. About a third of other counties have already increased their corner preservation fee to about $30. There's some other counties in the process as well. What is locally appropriate for each county will vary based on size, number of recordings, vegetation, road network, and various other factors. Updating the Corner preservation fee from $1985 will allow us to run a sustainable corner preservation program once again. It will take some time to ramp up the program, and funding is the first step. Are there any questions?
Commissioner Chuck, yeah, I do have
I have none. Go ahead, Commissioner Miller.
Yeah, Mr. Adam, could you talk about how important this is and really what the corner preservation does from a real kind of structural, historical level?
Yes. I'll try and not give the full history starting in the 1700s, but the public land survey system is the way that all property is controlled and referenced in the Western United States. In Oregon and Washington, that all starts at the Willamette Stone, the initial point for Oregon and Washington. That's in the West Hills of Portland. And then the townships and ranges go out from there. So, for instance, we're about 11 townships south and about 11 townships west from the Willamette Stone and the initial point of the Willamette Meridian. So anyone who owns property, their deed references this, and locating it on the ground is done through the recovery of these physical monuments, which, as I mentioned, can be lost through the effects of time. We've updated processes since the 1800s when we're using wood stakes and rocks and things like that. One of the most important things we do is have GPS systems, and we put geodetic control coordinates on these monuments so that if they are lost, we can reestablish them by coordinates. This will help us with corner preservation into the future. There's a lot of these points we have yet to get to since the 1800s. So sort of a sizable undertaking.
Yeah, no, thank you for that. I feel like it's the source code, right? So, it's really important, and thanks for, elaborating.
Yeah. Thank you for that history, Eli. All right. Any more on the fee structure? Brian?
I have a little bit if Eli's done.
I'm all done.
Thanks,
Okay.
Eli.
Thank you, Eli. So the other thing I wanted to point out is, as I stated earlier, that Health and Human Services, specifically the travelers accommodation, made some changes this time, or some proposed some changes for your review. And as part of that, I did a little memo this time with regards to the fee schedule because I wanted to attach that stuff for the commissioners to be able to see. But the part of that process, it's kind of the same as I brought up before with regards to the building code. When the building code changes get proposed, those actually, the first step of that before I look at it and then before you would review it for approval or not, is that the building code has to run it through their state counterpart. And that's the same for Health and Human Services. So I attached that memo, and the third page of the memo on this, it has the confirmation from the state that they did their part. The Oregon Health Authority, they're required by ORS 624.510 to review those proposed changes first, and they approved those. So I attached that letter from the Oregon Health Authority, just to show that Colleen had jumped through all the hoops that she needed to. I then do my checks against any other. I mean, it's nice when the state does their part because then I don't really have to look at the state compliance. I have to just look at local compliance. And so that's what got submitted with regards to the Health and Human Services. I did also want to point out on the public land corner preservation, before I move on, I attached, as part of that memo, our current Lincoln County code, which is 6.730 for the establishment of the Public Land Corner Preservation Fund. Just so you could see that we don't need to do a modification of our ordinance based on that change in the ORS that allows us to not be limited to the $10 for that fee. Because the way ours is drafted, it basically says that it'll be in compliance with the ORS and as established by the BOC, which is basically what Eli's asking with regards to a modification in that public land corner preservation fee is to change it from the $10 to the 28 now, which is now allowed under ORS 203148 as that was amended by House Bill 3175 in the last session. But with that, I don't have anything else. I don't believe there's any other staff comment unless somebody's raising their hand and wants to explain anything more. But I would ask, besides, if you have any questions for me, that you then open it up to public comment and see if there's any public comment with regards to the proposed fee schedule.
I have no questions. Commissioner Mill, do you have any questions for Brian?
No questions. Brian, appreciate the memo. That extra level's really nice. So great for doing that. And then just, we are under discussion, so we'll be back to finalize it. So it's not getting finalized today in case people don't catch that. Thank you.
No, it wouldn't be getting finalized today, but just in the interest of, because I'd be asking this on the 17th as well, but in the interest of letting people have public comment, the ORS isn't really specific on whether or not, since it comes up twice, whether or not you get public comment at both, but I don't see any reason why, if there is public comment, you wouldn't ask for it now. ORS 294160 does require at some point that there be option for public comment on the proposed fee schedule.
Okay, Mr. Lip, if there's anybody that wants to comment on the fee and rate schedule, please use the raise hand feature.
We have a raised hand from Mr. Smith.
Okay, Mr. Smith, you have 3 minutes to make your comment on our proposed fee and rate schedule.
Well, thank you, Commissioner Chuck. Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Can you state your name?
Sure, Ross Smith, Lincoln City. Yes, I noticed on the voter electronic list, it's raised from $45 to $60. The OAR that is cited there says that the cost is, for the state, is 0.25 cents per 100, which would be about $10 for our county of about 40,000 voters. So $60 seems a bit high for that. Also, I think there's 3 lists that we can ask the clerk for. There's the voter list, there's the voter history list, and there's the ballots returned list. And so you guys might want to include prices for each of those. That's all I have to say. Thank you so much for giving me the opportunity to speak.
Thank you, Mr. Smith. Are there any other raised hands, Mr. Lip?
Seeing none, Commissioner.
All right. There's members of the public wish to further comment on that. They can, who would they send the comments to, Brian?
They can send them just to the BOC. I'll get them. And just so Mr. Smith knows, I have there. You are still going to see some minor changes from the clerk's office. They were, for obvious reasons, they've been busy recently. And so they were submitting changes up until yesterday, actually, and I just didn't want to keep changing the packet. But any changes that they have that would be presented to you on the and in 2 weeks on the 17th, what I'll do is I'll put that in another memo so it's very specific of what those changes are. They had 4 that were still outstanding. They were pretty minor, but I do need to check on them and also check with, because some of them are kind of cross fees with the surveyor's office. And I want to make sure that I've had a chance to talk to Eli about those. But I will also bring up the electronic list questions. Um, as Mr. Smith noted, I actually added the OAR language. That's the highlighted part on page 9. It wasn't cited before, and I just thought it should be on the electronic list because there's different. So that's not the only thing that sets the fee for the electronic list, but that was one that I thought should be also noted in our fee schedule. There's also the ORSs that set it, which allow the BOC to set it. And that's why the BOC is listed as well there too. It always has listed the ORS and the BOC. But the OAR, I thought, provided some guidance as well, so I thought it should be listed there. But I will bring up the other lists as well and see if there's a way we can make it more clear or if the clerk wants to delineate multiple different kinds of lists. And if I do that, like I said, I'll make sure that you have a memo that explains it so you're not being kind of having to consider a final draft without an explanation. You will know if there's any changes from this draft.
Excellent.
Brian, thank you. Appreciate the clarification explanations on all the changes.
Yeah.
Anything else for Brian?
Nothing for me, Commissioner Chuck. Again,
Nothing for me.
thanks.
All right. Thank you, Brian. Appreciate that.
Thank you. And I will have it back on the agenda for the 17th.
Right. Thank you. All right. Next, we have Lincoln County Commons redevelopment presented by Joshua Dodson, project manager, DPM. Can we please promote him to panelist, Mr. Lip?
Just waiting for him to accept, Commissioner.
Thank you.
Kenneth, he's going to be running the slide deck.
I'm prepared to if he's not. Joshua, can you hear me? And if so, would you let me know if you would like to run your slides or if you'd like me to? I believe you said you were going to.
Yeah, I think you guys can see and hear me, is that right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, gotcha.
Let me see if I can share this. Sharing is not turned on. Request has been sent. So let me try to pull this down. Are you able to see what's on my screen yet?
No.
No.
not yet.
Okay. So I sent a request to share. So somebody there's got to
I clicked allow, Joshua. You should be able to share.
Okay, let me try that again. There we go. How's that?
Still not seeing anything. There we go.
Okay.
There it is.
So great when this works, huh? Okay. Is that large enough for you all to see?
Joshua, if you could go full screen on
Okay.
your side, that'd probably
Let's
help
do
us.
Where's the little button to
Joshua, if you go down at the bottom right next to where that little slider is that has the percentages.
Oh, right there. That's
You
what I
got
was
it.
looking for.
Uh-huh.
You can see that now?
It's still
Yeah.
Still looks the same.
no.
There used to be a little thing up here that lets me share it as a full.
You can go to slideshow if you do the drop down slideshow, and it should let you start it. And then from beginning.
Oh yeah, there we go. I keep wanting to click on it for you.
It's not doing it. It's not doing it. Let me try something else real quick.
You know, Joshua, if it doesn't work, I can, at least from my screen, I can't. Oh,
How about this is a PDF of it. How's this? That's bigger, right?
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, let's do this. If that's okay with you.
Yeah.
We're
Okay.
good. Thank you, Joshua.
Yeah, I actually just realized the slideshow has all these little, everything shows up at different, and I don't need all that. So this actually works out better anyway. Anyway, thank you for allowing me to present. My name is Joshua Dodson. I'm with DPM Company. I'm a owner's rep project management company in Oregon for the last 28 years. Newport is near and dear to my heart. I've got a history there where I was the manager on several well-known projects a decade or more ago, namely the Oregon Coast Community College bond program, the first one, and the NOAA Marine Operations Center facility, and the International Terminal. And those were just wonderful, iconic projects, and I'm actually really thankful to be back here. And so thank you for having me. I wanted to give you a snapshot of where we're at with the fairgrounds. So um, the Lincoln County Commons. In 2018-19, there were a few master plans that represent decades of work leading up to the fairgrounds. So I'm sure you're familiar with what was in that master plan. But when we got on board in December of 2025, we basically took that master plan and we've launched from there. So much work has gone into that place that master plan that we wanted to take from that base and move forward, and which is what we've been doing kind of at a rapid speed. So we were on board in December, and we quickly worked on getting an architect engineer. AE stands for architect engineer, a professional of record on board through public solicitation, and that was in mid-February of 26. And then this is what's interesting. What we decided to do based on the type of project and all sorts of things, if you remember, Commission, we went through an alternative method of contract called CMGC, where we went through an exemption process where we created findings of fact or reasons why we want to alternate or deviate from the traditional design bid build. And we had all these reasons, i.e., the findings, and they're wonderful. They're items like complexity and time and funding and dollars and being adjacent to a school, so there's safety. There's a myriad of reasons why the commission agreed to allow us to use what's called CMGC, which is it's one method of contracting. It's just a different one, and that stands for Construction Manager General Contractor. And essentially, we have a contractor on board as part of our team. They're part of our team like as we're finishing up design, which is not necessarily normal. And that affords us massive benefits when it comes to pre-construction. I'll get into that in a little further down. But that's why, soon after we got the architect on board, we got a contractor on board in May. And then I list out a few types of drawing progressions. We have SD, which stands for schematic design. And then from schematic design, you move into design development. So you take that schematic ideas and you develop them a little bit more. And then from the DD drawings, you move into construction drawings. And the construction drawings are where the massive effort, the massive time and dollars of the AE are spent on the bell curve of their brain power and their fees. And that'll happen towards the end of the year. The beauty of this is we can actually start work even before drawings are completed, and that's what the contractor right now is helping us figure out. But for the major part of everything, we're showing that the start of construction is going to be early next year, and then the following in 28 in June, finishing the work. So it's a couple-year job, and that'll be done in phases, and I'll explain that here in a little bit. So that's the first kind of major milestones I wanted to share with the group. And then the next slide is taken from the master plan. So some of the master plan talks about the key challenges of maintaining and improving the facilities to ensure their continuance as an asset to the community, educating the public, increasing participation with adults and youth. We had a mission to promote community interaction by providing a facility for diverse and community to use, share, and grow and enjoy. The vision is to be the premier community event center for the county, and we have some guiding principles that are listed here, and I'm probably familiar with you guys since you helped develop the master plan over the decades. And team and community driven project. This really is, and I just wanted to show a couple Couple things here. We've got myself and my partner Bryce Mitchell, who's a PM. We had a kickoff meeting with Lincoln County in right off the bat in January. I do like to put this triangle here. The foundation is trust. This is so important because we can't do anything on a project unless we have that foundation of trust. And what you say, do what? Well, you're going to have conflict. We call it reconciliation and clearing pebbles. Everybody on a project has issues, and we can't deal with those issues unless we have trust. And by being able to clear the pebbles from our pockets that weigh us down, because we have trust, we can then gain commitment with each other. Once you get commitment, then we have accountability for each other, and then that obviously hits us to the top of getting the results that we want. And we just call that the 5 behaviors of a cohesive team. It's not something I made up, but I like that triangle or pyramid. On the kickoff meeting, I'm kind of known for doing these little, historical photos, and they come in handy years later because you can look back and go, "Hey, you guys remember that when we were all smiling?" And you're done with the job, and guess what? We're still smiling at the end of the job, or we're hating each other, but that doesn't happen. We're this same smile that I see is going to happen, and when we're done with this job and we're entering the final phases of our job. So I like to kind of have these historic photos. And then the next thing we did right off the bat was actually, excuse me, during that meeting, we spent a couple hours digging into project management and we whiteboarded. And this whiteboard is really important because, and I'm not going to go over it all, but it is very important. But essentially, we took our project, the fairgrounds, and we developed we call it the stool. The front end is what I call it, but you can kind of picture it as a stool, and the three legs on that stool are budget, scope, and time. And in order to be level, to keep that stool level, the budget, scope, and time have to constantly be monitored and managed, developed, cared for, and watched. And that is essentially what project management is. And it's not super easy because you can focus on budget, you can focus on scope or time. One of those could be a major constraint. I'm on a job right now that has no money, and yet they need a scope. And so it's finding that balance, maintaining that balance is the front end. And so really the brain power of your owner's rep, us, is developing that front end, which we have done. We've developed a master budget. Right now we're looking at this project with all the estimates that we've done and the care and what we think this is going to cost. It's a $40 million budget. We've got a time frame of 2 years or less, and we have our scope, which we know the pavilion, the event center, we have this, and we'll get into that here in a little bit. So we've got all those three-legged stools perfectly defined, and right now our stools level for the most part. We move into process and procedures, and that is all sorts of things like developing your project management information system, your workflows, your software, decision making from our client. I can't do my job unless I have my own client make timely decisions. And so this is where you can help me is not being a red tape, being a good decision maker, because I don't sign things on behalf of the county. I am your representative. I don't make decisions on behalf of the county. I don't write the checks, but I recommend all those things to you. And hopefully we have such a trust where it's like, yep, let's get going. Here's the check, here's the signature. And then that allows me to manage the project on your behalf. The next process is team formation, and I'm going to get into that. We get an architect on board, we get a contractor on board, we get consultants on board. There's a lot of consultants, you guys. There's geotech, special inspectors, acoustic engineers, surveyors, hazardous materials, there's environmental people, and we can go on and on. And that all takes public procurement. And so this is what we're hired to manage those in terms of getting them on board. Then we move into design and then contracting method, and then it moves into establishing a guaranteed maximum price, which is what the contractor is going to ultimately be responsible for, is giving us what's called a GMP, a guaranteed maximum price. And right now that's going to be around 30 million. So this is really good for us to know. We as an owner set the amount. We say we have this amount of money, and once we tell them what our guaranteed maximum price is, they work to get and meet that amount. And that amount is a guaranteed maximum price. And the great thing about this method is they will end up competitively bidding to the world every scope of work. So when you talk about fairness, um, all the scopes of work of that $30 million guaranteed maximum price will have been publicly bid. And I'm a deep part of that. So everything is open and transparent. In a hard bid situation, which is traditional, they give you a bid and they don't have to tell you anything. It's in their pocket. They don't have to tell you the margins they're making, how much profit they're making. They don't have to tell you anything because they gave you a bid. In this method, everything's open book because we know how much they're making in fee. We know how much they're making in pre-construction fee. We know how much money they're making in their general conditions or the cost of them being on the job. So this is there's a huge beauty in it, and kudos for you for approving the use of this. So that's a 2-minute version of this 2-hour long whiteboard that we took our group through. Here's a slide showing LRS was selected as the architect. They're a firm that has actually they worked on the master plan, so they go way back. And so this is a really great group. And the thing with architects, you don't just get like one architect or a big firm with one architect. In this case, you have a team, and this is literally half their team. And you get certain architects have an expertise in certain things. And with an architectural firm these days, you get the whole group. You'll have a leader. You know, Alex is a leader, and Michelle is above him, and they have their roles and responsibilities, and so they've been wonderful so far. On the right, again, historical pictures. Each interview we interviewed. I want to say we had 12 or about a dozen. No, maybe even more than that. We had like at least over a dozen general contractors interested in this job. Maybe 19 is coming to mind. There was a lot. And we had a mandatory pre-proposal meeting. Out of that group, we whittled that down to I think 4 or 5 submitted proposals. And then we ended up wanting to interview 3 firms that were in the competitive range. And so each firm, as they interviewed, I take a little photo of them. And this in this case, we hired a firm called Bremick Construction. They're a well-known firm, and they did really good in the interviews. All the firms did really good in the interviews, but the selection process that we went through, we we had a selection committee, and that selection committee scored on the written proposal. So they submitted a written proposal. Our RFP was like 300 pages, so it's a lot of information. And they submitted these wonderful proposals, and we scored on those. And we actually subjectively scored on those. And the subjection basically kicked us into the firms into a competitive range. Then we added in what their fees were. So their fees were objectively scored by me only. And then I applied those to everybody's score because it's math. That's not subject to our opinions. It's just math. And then when we added those together, that's what gave us the idea of, okay, here's 4 or 5 contractors' scores, but only these 3 were I think they were like the high mid 80s. So let's just interview those 3. And then we had a large point structure for the interviews. And then in the end, it ended up being where Bremick was awarded the job. And by the way, they were awarded the job by I think it was like 5/10 of a point. I mean, this is how competitive this was. And we actually, as a committee, said, "Hey, does this feel good? How does this feel? I mean, they're so close." And everybody, it was really cool to see how the consensus score just kind of felt like they're the right ones to go with. And so they've been on board. They've been wonderful, and we're moving forward with LRS as our architect, Bremick as our constructor, and we have our team formed. So the phase that we're in right now is called pre-construction phase, and I do not expect you to look at this schedule, but the point is, this is actually a very simplified construction schedule. A normal construction schedule will be probably 15 of these pages. So they zip down in all the activities, and this is what we're paying them for. And they've actually phased this job out. So they're starting to think about, well, if we want the fair and the rodeo to happen this summer, as normal, how are we going to make that happen and keep the group out of our way so the contractor can do some sort of work this summer and fall, and then to get the fair and rodeo allowed to use in next June and July? How does that work? And then when are we going to finish the rest of everything? And so they start to think about the zoning and the different phases, and that's the process that their expertise goes through in pre-construction. Pre-construction phase, they're going to do estimating, they're going to do phase logistics. They're going to do what's really important here. I forgot to mention this earlier, is the way the market goes now. There's certain aspects of a construction project that can really hurt a project, and that has to do with early procurement of long lead items. And some of those long lead items will deal with electrical, like switch panels and generators and the HVAC units and the air handling units. Those things can be 52 weeks out. And if you don't have an expert that knows when to order those things, then you're going to get done with the job and go, oh, wait a minute, we won't have power for another year. I mean, it's literally like that. And so this method of contracting allows the contractor, like maybe in a month or two, start to order stuff. And you won't, again, you wouldn't get that in a hard bid job at all. So because they're a partner and they can forecast these things, they're allowed to start doing these sort of early procurement orders and then early work authorizations, maybe some site work or utility work early. And also they'll start partnering with the school district and the city and things like that to coordinate those work. And that actually leads to the next slide, which is stakeholder coordination. One of the items that we had on this project was every street surrounding the fairground has work going on with the city. And not only just work, it's specific work that deals with the city, the streets, the sidewalks, the new entryways, the utilities. Some of those jobs we might be able to partner financially with their urban renewal dollars. This is something Derek at the city I've worked with him years ago also. It was wonderful. But where we can share costs with the city on certain things, which will only allow our dollars to then go farther, which is the beauty of it. So there's strict coordination we have working with our civil engineer, which is under our architect engineer firm, LRS, and knowing that we have work going on all the way around, and we also have a school district partner on our job practically, and we're going to be looking to partner in any way we can with them. This is just an FYI, this is a design schedule, so designers have their own schedules. So I start off as an owner's rep, I start off with a master schedule. It's kind of bigger picture. It involves things, way ahead of time and way out, and things that don't really involve, the contractor, architect, or others. They involve us as the owner. There comes a time where that kind of goes away and then turns into a design schedule that's very minute, focused on design. And then we get the contractor on board and they kind of take over the schedule. We give them the parameters. We give them here's the milestone dates. You stick with them. All the sausage making in between you can figure out, but you got to meet these end dates. So we have partnerships with the city of Newport, obviously the county, focusing on utilities, the fair rodeo, the public school, the school district, etc. There's a lot of stakeholders involved. And so we began early design and on-site coordination. So here was a few pictures of us meeting on site with architects, meeting on site with general contractors, everybody who was interested in this project. And looking at where, we think the new rodeo pavilion might go and the big open green space might go. And we've got our livestock barn and where our new event center would go, and possibly where our food carts, which is a really cool idea that would go. And so we're starting to think about the planning of all of this, and we've been putting together different scenarios. A mobile stage that we can move from areas to areas as a venue might lend itself to being smaller or larger, or facing one direction or the other. So you asked next steps. What are we doing now? And it's I we're progressing the design. So the design is the next step. We have pre-construction activities by our contractor, and that's what we're paying them for. We're paying them to be our expert, and so they're putting estimates together. They're doing constructability reviews. They're doing, hey, you guys had pretty good ideas early on, but now that we're on board, what about these ideas? And contractors, they are master constructors. So the beauty of it is they think about things that we don't. And so they're going to come up with things like, oh, yeah, that's why we hired them. And same with the designers. We hired them for their expertise. They are master designers. We want their creativity. We want their design prowess. And so we've got design progression. We have construction, pre-construction activities going on. They're working towards the GMP development. Again, that's guaranteed maximum price, and that will meet our budget. And then permitting is a large portion of this. And one other thing I didn't mention here is utility coordination. Utility coordination is, it's a big one just because of all the streets around our site, and all the work that's going on, as well as the utilities on our site. We are completing a survey right now on the job, which is going to really reveal quite a bit of things for us. So permitting, utilities, and then moving on to the beauty of construction. And the last slide is questions and answers, or shall I say Q&A, attempted answers.
Gotcha.
Thank you, Joshua. Appreciate this and all you've done going forward. Commissioner Miller, I'm sure you have questions and comments. Please go.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you, Commissioner Chuck. Joshua, pleasure to meet you through Zoom.
Likewise.
Joshua, as far as this project, we've got these stakeholders, right? We're in proximity to the school district. In your experience, where do you anticipate the community? Do they get any kind of updates, or I imagine they want to be curious as this unfolds. How much, Joshua, will that live through, in your mind, through commissioners' meetings like we're doing now, or will there be any kind of public-facing interface so people can follow along?
That's an excellent question. And you can still see me, right? Because okay, good. So I'm done sharing. So that is a great question. This is a public process, and you would think that the public deserves to understand how this is going. And so that you ask a good question in terms of, let me give you some examples. We can have website updates. So we could have a constant website that is updated on progress. As a firm, we have dashboards. So this dashboard will be used. I'm not sure if you guys have ever heard of like a smart sheet. If you've heard of smart sheets.
Yes.
So smart sheet, we have a suite of tools that we use, and all that suite of tools will kind of feed into a dashboard. That the dashboard will give you kind of an update on budget, scope, and time. But then you can translate that to regular updates through the news, the county website. You can have all sorts. Well, it really, let me give you an example. This is up for what we want and what is best for this project. So the myriad of abilities to, let me give you an example. The NOAA project, it was open to the world, right? It was so open and out there, and yet across the estuary was the international terminal that kind of wanted to be under the radar.
Mm. Yeah.
But that was by design. So I would ask the commissioners, we have the ability to do any sort of outreach.
Mm,
There will be very strong stakeholder engagement with obviously our partners that have the school. They need to, there's a major safety thing there. So that's going to be it right there.
yeah.
But
Yeah.
yeah, we might even have sometimes we'll have a student attend weekly OAC meetings. That's owner architect contractor meetings. They
Okay.
once construction happens, there's a meeting that happens every week on site. And that can be sometimes on other projects exactly like this, where you can have a representative of the district at that meeting. Sometimes they can bring a student just to learn how this goes. There's so many ways to do that. So let me just give you, it's open, very
Okay.
open for what we want to
Okay.
do.
Yeah, just I mean, I appreciate this. I'm just kind of pulling it all together in my mind, and then also thinking where that community interest is going to land,
Right,
right?
right.
Because you've noted they're trying to kind of pull off, having events while construction's going on. It's just we're trying to do a lot there, and it's very cool.
You bet. Yeah, it
But I
is.
can see that it's a quite a bit too. Um, so, I mean, at some point, or do we already have a designated school district liaison, for example, or has that been established yet, or forthcoming?
I don't believe that's been established yet. Yeah.
Okay. And then Joshua, for me, like as a commissioner, got a team of people working on it. How much do I reach out to you directly, or do I reach out to the lead on our team? And then who is the lead on our team and now, and is that going to change, or do you anticipate that's still evolving?
Right. Yeah. Right now, it's been Kristen has been our lead in terms of the county point of contact. And so until that changes, I'm very open to meeting with whoever, whenever, but I basically use Kristen as that funnel of how that wants to be working. I'm welcome to, I'm used to having clients where it's not just one client, it's one client, but there's like 10 within them. Like, for instance, I'm representing a community college right now. I do have a facility director that is my Kristen, but really, there's like 10 directors that all represent my client, and they each have their own department. So it is actually important to have one person for me to work with at the county and then disseminate from there. Yeah, unless there's the authority otherwise.
So
Okay.
Commissioner Miller, it's going to be really analogous to when we did the animal shelter construction. So Tim Johnson was the county contact. I think you did join those Thursday meetings while they were doing all the pre-construction. It's very similar process that we have for the commons. So Tim did pass this along as a project for me to put in to continue this. So this was one of the things he delegated. But yeah, I'm
Uh,
happy to give those updates. But really wanted Joshua to come and give this, large scale presentation on
yeah.
on the project.
Yeah. No, appreciate it. For me, that was the first time really seeing the CMGC model, if I've got the acronym,
Yeah, yeah.
at work. And yeah, I mean, we did. I was part of those weekly meetings for over a year. Um, and, it's just, it's fascinating, right? This whole project management. Joshua, just a couple more questions.
Yeah.
In general, what percentage do you see as, being vetted, or roughly how much community feedback will inform this moving forward? Can you ballpark it?
Well, I mean, my initial response to that would be looking at the 2018 2019 master plan represents a mass amount of already the community input.
Yeah,
And so that's where I'm kind of like, they've given us you guys have given us the
yeah,
charge with that master plan. And so I'm taking that and we're launching it. And because
yeah.
there's been so much work already been done, we understand exactly what has been asked for over and over and solidified in that master plan. So, um, you know, changing things and ideas. That seems to be that we're just going to take that master plan and rock forward.
Okay. Well, thank you. I just think that's important because it has been going on for a long time.
Oh
There
yeah,
are
yeah,
so many, but history can be easily lost.
yeah. Let's make it real.
You
That's what
know,
we're doing now. We're going to make it real.
and then I guess my last question is just as we move forward, we're looking at the financial investment, right? And that GMP
Yes.
that, I mean, generally, when we have cost overruns or if they do happen, what percentage really comes back to the board or comes to the internal project manager? Because, and we're going to get to this in the next agenda item.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
is your sense that that is really by design of us to make those sort of triggers, if you will?
Yeah, and that is a great question. So this method of contracting and the way that it's accounted for, the way that it's managed is way different than a traditional way of doing it.
Okay.
The traditional way, if there's any sort of little change in the documents, which there's always going to be changes,
Mhm.
we get change ordered. Okay. In this method of contracting, the one of the findings is to reduce change orders. And most of the time when I manage CMGC, there's maybe one change order. It's at the end of the job and it is a credit back to the client. We call it a reconciliation change order where they reconcile their accounting and they're like, we didn't use these allowances and here's a couple $100,000 back. That's what's going to happen here. And here's why. One of the things that we do in the guaranteed maximum price, it's built into the fee, what we call a GMP contingency. So we
Okay.
as an owner have our own contingency. Okay, that's ours. It's at the bottom. Nobody touches that except for us. In the guaranteed maximum price contract, which is the construction contract, just think 30 million. Within that will be a contingency, 5% to 7% maybe. The higher we can get it, the better. It doesn't mean it's the contractors ever. But what they do is they manage those changes and they use those dollars within the contract. And the beauty of it is it's cheaper to spend changes in the GMP than outside of it as a change order. And here's why. A change order, the contractor's going to get a markup of 15%, 10%, 10%. That's labor, materials, equipment. Okay? In a change order.
Okay.
In the guaranteed maximum price, when they use the contingency, they only get their fee percentage. And their fee percentage is going to be anywhere between 3.5% and 5%. Okay? It'll be somewhere between there. So you see how that's way cheaper? That's like a third the price
Mhm.
of markup cheaper. So what we do is we want to spend changes in the GMP, and those changes are, if you remember right, the GMP might be issued when the drawings aren't completely done yet. So the contractor has to kind of have a little bit of coverage
Yeah.
for incomplete drawings. And so when they forget that scope, they're like, okay, we knew that was coming, but we didn't have it defined. So we put a little allowance over here of 10 grand to cover that pipe that never, wasn't shown
Yeah.
yet. And so they try
Yeah.
to plan for everything. So, most of the time we'll spend that GMP contingency. I just was on a job where we spent none of it, which has never happened before. But that means kudos to the architect on that drawing on that.
Yeah. Joshua, no, thank you so much. I just think this is great for the community to
Yeah.
understand. With what you're seeing right now out there in the projects you're working on, generally, what are the pressures? Are there any trends in terms of developments and in general that you're seeing that are causing, stress?
Not like 5+ years ago. That was the worst time anybody in our industry's ever had, where COVID created this supply chain issue, and the supply chain issue alone made projects cost at least 40% more and take almost twice as long. And so, being an owner's rep representing public agencies, it was one of those things where it's like, owner, if you want that project, just know it's going to take 2 times as long and cost possibly 2 times as much. And so that caused, well, I'm talking about the past. That we're
Yeah.
not there yet. Now, where we're at now is where competition is starting to come back. And because of competition, that's really good for us as owners because costs come down, opportunities go up. And so, as far as trends, I would say there's a soft trend, and that is the because of the busyness, Commissioner Miller, because of the busyness in the market, we
Mm-hmm.
see turnover. So contractors are taking on more work,
Mm.
and so they're proposing a group, and that group all of a sudden they switch out. Okay, so that's as an owner that can be annoying, and
Yeah.
so you get that, but we've actually in this RFP we took some pretty strong measures of very strong measures and made it a part of the interview. You will not switch out people, or like we got some chuckles, but it's true. I say if you are going to switch out, switch up. Like
Yeah.
give us somebody that has more experience, but don't charge anymore, and that can be a positive. And then there's still the lingering. There's talk about tariffs hitting. I've had one project where they said it might hit, but right now tariffs are not affecting our projects. And then there are still some supply chain or long lead items, namely on the electrical side when it comes to what they call switchgear. But that's it. I mean, the rest is it's in our favor. We're doing we're looking really good. I would say because of the experience on the coast, we have the reality of designing for the perfect weather. So a lot more stainless steel, which costs more, but let's just do it
Mm.
because it's the best thing to do.
Yeah.
As an example, let's understand that we might have more delays than normal because we have rain that goes this way. It somehow it comes up. And just
Right.
the weather in general, that always affects construction. But you know what? We're Oregonians. We build in the weather, build on the coast. We're used to this.
Yeah. Well, thank you. Thank you for all that because yeah, it makes a difference and you understand it and that's to our benefit, right?
Yeah.
That we're going to
Yeah.
have an amazing facility for years to come.
You
So
bet.
appreciate it. Appreciate your patience and taking some
Yeah.
time to explain those things.
You bet.
All right,
Um,
Joshua, thank you. Appreciate the very thorough presentation, and yeah, no, it's been great, and it's been great working with you in the past.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. Good to
you
see you guys.
Yeah, just so for clarification for the public, who was on the selection committee, just to make sure we know who was doing that process.
Yes, the selection committee was made up of several was Kristen, the architects, and I assume you're talking about the general contractor. Yeah, because we had selection committees for the architects, and it's usually made up of a fair board person, I know Heather Tower, Kristen, ourselves, and the architects were the main people on the committee.
All right. Yeah, thanks. I just want to make sure that, Commissioner Miller and I are seeing a lot of these things for the first time and to make sure that, we are not having previous, knowledge of any of this stuff. It's part of building trust, and I appreciate
Oh
you
yeah,
doing that. Yeah. Um, and, I appreciate you overseeing all this stuff.
my
There's
pleasure.
there's a lot of, and having a project manager for the first time for the county, having someone there who's keeping their finger on the pulse of this, knowing what's coming, monitoring all this stuff coming up, and just having the oversight there so we don't have to worry about that. We can just look at your dashboard, see what's going on, and then relish in the fact that this project's going to get done on time and
Yeah,
done well and to the betterment of the community.
that's
Um,
right.
yeah, it that's it's been joyful working with you. Um, any other questions or comments for Joshua?
uh, no, thank you, Commissioner Chuck, and good follow-up.
All right. All right. Thank you,
Okay.
Joshua. Appreciate it.
Thanks everyone. Good to see
All
you.
right. Thank you.
Appreciate it.
All right. We will move down to our next agenda topic, the 2026 Lincoln County Fair Heather Tower, the fair manager, will be presenting.
Excuse me, Commissioner Chad, Chair
Ye-
Chuck, should we take a quick break maybe, or?
Uh, if you think we would, if you would like a break, we can take a break
Yeah,
for.
sorry, I gotta
Okay.
go to the bathroom, yeah.
Okay. So at this time, we'll be taking a break for 10 minutes. We will adjourn for now and then reestablish the meeting at 11:25.
Okay, thank you, see you back.
2026. Sorry. I'm reconvening the meeting after a short break, Wednesday, June 3rd, 2026. Next up on the agenda, we have the Lincoln County Fair presentation by Heather Tower.
Good morning, commissioners. My name is Heather Tower. I am the fair manager and the 4-H agent for Lincoln County. I don't have a fancy presentation like Josh. I was just going to come on and kind of give you an update on the fair for the 2026 year. I'm happy to say that we are back in Newport, mostly at the Commons. We're going to be utilizing a portion of the fairgrounds for the event, namely the rodeo grounds or the rodeo, and then with the traditional Harney closure that we normally do every year, I'm going to be using a bulk of Harney to do kind of everything else. We are going to have a full fair, main stage, music all 3 days. 4-H is doing their thing. They have their market auction on Friday, a fair which is July 3rd at 3 o'clock. They'll have all of their normal livestock shows. Their static exhibits, which are, the canning and the art and all of that will be included with 4-H. Open classes back. We'll have a full open class venue available. So if people are interested in entering things for fair, they can do online entries now. It's up on our website. And we're gonna kind of the big thing that we're having this year back is I have been in contact with a carnival. So we will have a full carnival at fair. We haven't had a carnival. Oh, it's probably been since 2017-ish that we've had a carnival at the Lincoln County Fair. So that's really exciting. It's a company called Brass Ring Amusements. They're out of Northern California and they'll be coming up and doing a tour of Oregon. And we just happen to be on their list, which is super exciting. We also have vendors. Oh, go ahead.
Excuse me, I'm sorry, Heather, if Mr. Lip pulled up the website, would that kind of show where you're at too?
Oh, yeah, that would be
Okay,
fantastic.
yeah,
If you
sorry to
wanted to
interrupt
do
you
that.
there. Yeah,
Yeah,
no,
not a problem at all. Actually, that's what I'm kind of referencing myself, to tell you the truth,
oh,
to
okay,
make sure I don't miss anything.
yeah, no,
Um,
thank you.
but it is updated. It's the LincolnCountyFair.com. Make sure you get the in there. You might be in Minnesota or Michigan and another Lincoln County altogether. Um, vendor space is still available, so if anybody is interested in vending, unfortunately, I only have outdoor vending space available due to the redevelopment, which is super exciting that it's happening, but it's kind of limiting where I can put people this year. And yeah, we're ready to roll. The dates are July 2nd, so Thursday, July 2nd through Saturday, July 4th. I'm sure everybody is aware that it is the 250th birthday of America this year, and so we've kind of incorporated that into our fair theme and adding that as part of the normal celebration that we do as Lincoln County every year. I would like to thank a few of our sponsors. Ace in Newport is our premier rodeo sponsor. They're the title sponsor for rodeo. And then Samaritan Health Service is our title sponsor for fair. Both have been fantastic over the years and supported our event at least the last 5 years. Samaritan, I think, has been on board since OSU took over direction of the fair, and just really great local businesses stepping up to make this event happen annually for us. So yeah, it's coming fast. I'm excited for it. But we will have a full rodeo Friday and Saturday. We're going to do an evening show Friday evening, and then Saturday we'll have a matinee performance at 1 o'clock, just to give a little grace to those that want to go watch the fireworks in the evening. so that we're not competing with other local events going on at the same time. So I'm happy to answer any questions that you may have. But I would invite everybody to come join us at the fair. It is still a free event. Rodeo does have ticketing, and then the carnival will obviously have wristbands and tickets available for sale as well. But the rest, the music, 4-H, all of the vendors, entrance to walk through the fair is always going to be a free event. So.
Right. Thank you, Heather. Appreciate that. Do you have any questions or comments for Heather, Commissioner Miller?
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Commissioner Chuck. Heather, thank you so much. Last year, now we're back. I'm sure you're excited, but what do you think about how the Commons is unfolding and how this is all going to work out? I'm sure your confidence is up.
No, I'm super excited. I'm very grateful for the county for letting me be such a large process, part of the redevelopment process. Because as you guys know, the last several years, the fair's kind of been the only large event that has happened at the Commons. And so we've done a couple different things to kind of accommodate for this redevelopment. Last year, obviously, you referenced we were at the casino, which was actually a really good learning experience. We made some really great connections with folks over at the casino. It was nice to have the event kind of in a different part of the county to see what we bring to those people that maybe don't come into Newport for that weekend, because it is a very busy weekend for our community. And so I'm glad we did it at the casino. It was a really good jumping off point to get into this redevelopment. And I'm very thankful that for the next couple of years, they're very cognizant of our event and kind of doing scheduling around that so that we can still be in Newport and have our event and not miss it. It's over 100 years old. Like many fairs, the only time we've ever had to shut it down was the COVID year in 2020. And so I'm just excited to be back in Newport and kind of firing on all cylinders, and having that carnival back is going to be a great attraction for not only locals but people coming in for that 4th of July weekend.
Yeah, that's pretty amazing. That's been a big request. So awesome. Heather, and with Commissioner Chuck here and Council Ewell as well. A couple of years ago, we had the county booth at the fair. We had some renderings of, the master plan and some ideas, and people are very curious about that. So, if we could maybe work with Joshua to show some displays of where things are going, that might be a good idea. I'm sure there'll be a lot of interest in it. And Heather, thanks for all your work on this and taking a little time here to go over this stuff. So excited.
Yeah, I appreciate the time. And again, I invite anybody on the call listening, or if anybody watches this later, please come down, check it out. Not only have we worked hard, myself and the fair board, but the 4-H kids, it's kind of their pinnacle event. I'll put my 4-H hat on for a minute.
Right.
And they really want to show the community what they've been working on all year, with their animals and their displays. And again, that market auction is kind of the capstone of their project for the year. So if you have any interest, please come talk to our kids. Come join us at the fair, and it'll be a fun, busy weekend for everybody.
Awesome. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you, Heather. Thank you for that. Other than what do you need from the commissioners as far as the fair, other than showing up for our commissioners award?
Oh yeah, I should mention that, or I might get in trouble with the fair board. The open class, this is the commissioner awards. So please, anytime before we open on Thursday, so anytime Wednesday, July 1st, if you want to stop by, Colleen Robert, who is the fair board chair and the open class superintendent, would love to see you. But yeah, if you guys want to come and walk through, I do want to, I think that's a good point, Commissioner Miller, about having some kind of display. At least giving the public what the timeline's going to look like, what actually is going to be part of the redevelopment, because that has changed through many adorations of the master plan over the years. I know you've been involved, and you've seen kind of the changes that I've seen since I've been with OSU. And so, I think it's nice to see people. I think it's nice for the people in our community to just see the commissioners out and about. This is a county event, although I do work for OSU. This is a county-wide event, not an OSU event. So
Yeah, and a plug for
Thank-
fair boards, I mean, until I really was there all day, every day, and then watched you guys end your day. You work so hard. Everybody's just exhausted, and then, comparing notes and getting ready for the next day. I mean, it's a tremendous effort that the fair board makes, and we appreciate it so much. So, yeah, good point.
Yeah. And thank you, Heather. And I know you're looking forward to having the fair back here and at the Commons and, going forward to a new facility. So I'm really looking forward to what you're going to do the next couple of years with the fair. Any further questions or comments for Heather?
No, no, and thank
All
you,
right.
Commissioner Chuck, for reminding us that, there is some expectation that we judge these things and it's fun, right? So appreciate
Yeah.
it.
Yeah,
yeah, and I
there's
do know the public really likes, we get the big fancy ribbons, and
yeah,
so it's just another element of fun. And again, just harkening back to that fair board, they are a working fair board, so they are there setting
yeah,
panels, setting up, helping coordinate volunteers. I mean, I could not do this without the fair board and all of the effort that they put into it every year. So thank you for that reminder of all the hard work that they put in.
yeah,
So.
yeah. And we do appreciate all the for what the fair board does for the fair. So thank you, Heather. Um, Appreciate the presentation. And I think we have the next is authorizing financing to redevelop county commons. Council Yule, you'll be presenting and
Thank you, commissioners. So this came to you previously for an authorization resolution, and this is for the borrowing for the County Commons project. So just a little history. When the master plan was originally completed, there was an estimate included, and the estimate was 10 to 12 million for total construction costs. That estimate was not I guess a construction firm was not used to provide that estimate. It was not an accurate estimate if you were to look back at costs as we have found out now. The actual estimate that probably would have been more realistic would have been 18 to 20 million for those construction costs when the master plan was completed. And those costs, it has been, around 10 years. Those costs have doubled. So as Joshua indicated, Mr. Dotson, the estimated cost is around 40 million to complete this project. And that would be to do everything that the master plan outlines. So this authorization resolution, the county would be putting forward 17 million of transient room tax funds. That's how this project is being financed. So we have 17 million of transient room tax funds that were dedicated for the fairgrounds, that we would be putting down as money for this project. To get to the master plan redevelopment, what is required, we would need to borrow 23 million. We initially had an 8 million authorization resolution, and that was based on the estimate originally in the master plan. And then we also, we updated that. We thought that it would be double of that estimate, which would have been around 22 million. That is not accurate because I think that estimate was not accurate when it was provided. So we would borrow 23 million. We are extending the loan term from 10 years to 20 years. And I don't see Miss Welch, who is our treasurer. So Miss Welch, who collects the transient room tax funds, along with Piper Sandler, who we used for the bond financing, we actually did these estimates. And is she on, Mr. Lip? I don't see.
She is not. She has not accepted promotion to panelist.
Okay.
Mr. Lip,
Okay.
can you zoom in a little bit, please, too? Thank you.
So Miss Welch did these calculations along with Piper Sandler, who's advising us on the bond sale. So originally we had a term of 10 years for the borrowing. We would extend that to 20 years. And again, these are using transient room tax funds for the borrowing and for future paying of the bond indebtedness. I see Miss Welch now.
yeah.
Anything you want to add, Ms. Welch, to the calculations? I did want to just emphasize that these are only transient room tax funds that have been dedicated and that were passed on several measures that we would be using for the 17 million. And then for the future borrowing, those are also just transient room tax funds that will be used.
Yes, Councilor Gould, that is correct.
Whenever Commissioner Chuck,
Yeah.
I have a few questions for
Yeah.
Ms. Welch, but
Sure.
whenever you're ready.
Yeah, please go ahead. Ms. Welch, you ready to answer a few questions?
Certainly.
Jane, the designated TRT coming from like this we don't anticipate, it's hard to anticipate, I guess, exactly how much is coming in, right? I mean, historically, I think is it fairly stable? I mean, what's your just feeling of that, looking from where we've been and where we're going when you look at those funds coming in?
Yes, in processing and analysis, I came to the conclusion that the transient lodging tax, excuse me, calculations for the collections that we've previously collected for the fair and economic development and future collections um, um, will assist in paying the debt obligation and as well as this 23 million, the bond obligation. So the repayment of debt, the funds are clearly there.
Okay. Jane, too, just, for my benefit and probably our listeners too, not all TRT goes just to this. I mean, it's just a portion.
That's correct.
Right. Can you remind us generally
Certainly.
the breakout areas for TRT?
Certainly. So we have a portion, about 58% that goes to general fund. We have the aquarium portion. We have a fair portion, a fair ordinance portion, as well as economic development portion. So with the three portions from fair, for ordinance, and trust, that transient lodging tax collections will help to assist in repaying the obligation.
Got you. Yeah, thanks for that clarity,
Sure.
Jane.
Certainly.
Because I know, Commissioner Chuck, I missed your presentation. I know you were presenting at AOC regarding TRT the other day. And just so Commissioner Chuck, people understand, like Jane just described, three different buckets, if you will. Anything, Walter, I know this is a little kind of off the topic, but that you identified or reported to in your presentation to AOC, kind of about where you see TRT maybe going? Um,
No, I didn't make any predictions on where it was going. I just said that, what the current uses are and how it was done and what we are currently doing with our funds.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Thanks, Jane.
Just to clarify, Commissioner Miller and Commissioner Chuck, our transient lodging tax has been consistent and fair since basically since COVID. We had a spike in those collections, and it's been very consistent in each of the categories. So I feel confident that our TRT is kind of level and we're in a good place. So just wanted to reiterate that.
Yeah. And that, Jane, does that improve the confidence or interest rates as well? Does that factor in?
Not sure the question that you're asking.
Well, I mean, anticipating that it be stable when we're borrowing, I mean, I imagine that benefits us when we're looking at borrowing.
That's correct.
Okay. Right. Thank you. Yeah, no, appreciate that clarification, Jane. It's helpful.
Yeah. And just, so I did reach out to Jane and we talked for about 15, 20 minutes regarding this. And, I appreciated her perspective on that. And it's nothing she said was different than what she presented. And I feel she felt comfortable with the debt load that this would put on the county and that the funds coming in would remain stable. And it would be a good thing to do for the county to get this project completed.
Yeah.
And that doesn't preclude paying it off early either if there's a larger increase in funds. So No, I appreciate Jane's time and getting me up to speed on all this. So appreciate that, Jane. And do you have any other further comments on this? Going forward, I think we need to bring this back to the board, but I feel comfortable going forward with this. Just want to make sure that we get the word out that these are transit lodging tax funds and not property tax funds, and this is what economic development and community improvement is what these funds are meant for, and we're using them for what the intended purposes.
Yeah, yeah, thanks, Commissioner Chuck. I appreciate that it's on discussion. Our finance director appears he's been out the last couple days. We got our last budget committee meeting coming, so just have a few questions for him, and I'll circle back with him. But yeah, I don't anticipate not seeing this as moving forward when we bring it back for approval.
Thank you, commissioners. This will be on decision action for the second meeting in June.
All right. Thank you for that. Appreciate your time, Jane, and thank you for spending some time with us. Going down the list, we have agenda topics. Commissioner Miller, do you have any agenda topics you'd like to discuss or bring to a future meeting?
Nothing for me at the moment, Commissioner Chuck.
Okay, I have none. So next we have Commissioner vacancy position number 2.
Okay.
Do you wish to start?
Oh, sure. Yeah. So like last we had left this, we were talking about the appointment of Marcy Baker and Kristen Dawn. Um, my point of view at that time was that the appointment process for position 2 was just to fill the vacancy until the end of the year, that it had intersected the election, and that maybe um, in the primary we might see an indicator of community's choice. And I think we have a commission-elect, Curtis Landers. So I would think it might be prudent that we consider having Landers fill the vacancy, knowing he's going to be in office in January. So that is about my overview of the situation right now. Thank you.
Okay. Well, my view is that we had a process that you and I agreed upon. We had 24 applicants. We interviewed 2, and that was Miss Baker and Miss Dawn. And I think we owe it to these people to have their names considered for this position. And any people that were willing to fill this vacancy right now should have applied. So at this time, I would put forth my selection as Kristen Dawn to fill the vacancy.
Okay. And I guess my selection would be elect Landers, Commissioner-elect.
Okay. I'm going to make the motion. You can to put Kristen Dawn into the vacancy. Are you willing to second that motion?
No, sir.
Okay. So I guess we continue then, correct?
Continue.
Unless you're willing to make a motion, I think, we do owe it to these candidates to look at them. They did apply. They did go through the interview process. And to change it on them, to either one of them is not fair. And to not even discuss it further than this, I don't think is proper.
Okay.
They participated in good faith, and we need to make sure that we consider them in good faith.
Okay.
At no time was any election results part of the process. This is to fill a vacancy.
Right. Right. Yeah, I hear you. And part of what you're saying makes sense to me. But things changed over time from my perspective. And so I just have a different viewpoint, Commissioner Chuck. So it looks
Okay.
like, again, we just disagree. And I think you and I have been doing, we've been doing okay. I think things have um, been working better, the collaboration. So I think we're just going to have to continue to do our best and, try and find common ground when we can.
Well, I would say that we did find common ground on the consent calendar. We passed close to 40 things on that today. So one or two things of disagreement is bound to happen. But the business of the county is getting done. We did agree on almost everything else on the agenda. So we'll move forward to commissioner reports unless council has anything to say about the process.
Just that under the law, this is a vacancy that would just be until the end of the year, December 31st. It does say that you shall appoint somebody to fill the vacancy. So under the law, that is the responsibility of the remaining two board members. Chair Hall passed away on January 5th. As Commissioner Chuck indicated, we had 20 people that applied for that vacancy. They applied in good faith. Commissioner Miller did post all of their applications on his private Facebook page. He had several posts and memos that he sent out about all these applications. The law does not say that we will appoint a vacancy after election results. The general election in November will decide who takes office in January. That's a separate process. If the goal was community feedback for the applicants, community members have had 5 months to provide the feedback. Again, the individual appointed would only serve until December 31st. I would not recommend changing the goalposts. I do agree that that's bad faith. I agree that these individuals applied, 24 of them applied. If Mr. Landers had been serious about applying for a position 2, he could have done so. He didn't. You selected 4 finalists from those applications to interview, and 2 withdrew, and then you had 2 people that moved forward with this again in good faith for the vacancy appointment. So that has nothing to do with an election. I just want to clarify that under the law.
Okay, thank you for clarification.
All right. Thank you for that, counsel. The next item we have is commissioner reports. It's been a long meeting. I'm not going to go over my reports, but the only thing I would like to highlight is that I did have an interview with Oregon Health Authority on our local mental health interview. Interim director or department head Marie Laper reached out to me about a month prior to this and asked me to do the interview. She and I had a meeting and I talked with her staff. They forwarded me some of the information regarding the programs and minutes from the past 6 meetings, and it was very interesting to see what we do as far as mental health. County commissioners are the local mental health authority, and it was a good interview. So I was very appreciative that she asked me to do that. Next, we'll go to public comment. I will say please limit your comments to 3 minutes. We have a timer up there. All comments must be directly related to items on the agenda. If there's anybody that wishes to speak, please raise your hand and Ken will acknowledge you in order that you raise your hand. Are there any hands raised, Ken?
Seeing none yet, Commissioner.
Okay. All right. Seeing none.
Someone just raised their hand. Just 1 second.
Right.
Miss Baker has her hand raised.
All right. Okay. I will say that I did make a mistake and that people were supposed to have signed up ahead of time, but we will take the first one and go on from there. Please have anybody else use written comments. Thank you.
Miss Baker, you should be able to speak now.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Hi, thank you for taking my comment. I was unable to navigate how to sign up ahead of time. I just would like to ask, since there was the opportunity given, just to throw this out there. I know you're not to expect a response in here in the meeting, but for Kristen, Dawn, and I as applicants, are we to assume this is just left open-ended, or would we receive some sort of communication on any type of decision being made, considering we've been holding out on this process for about 5 months each? So thank you. That's my comment, and appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you,
Ms.
Thank you, Miss Baker. Once again, apologize for the mistake on my part. If there are any other people wanting to make comments, you can please send them to boc@co.lincoln.org.us. Thank you for attendance. Appreciate your time. I'm adjourning this meeting at 11:55 a.m. on June 3rd, 2026. Thank you.